Welcome back. My name is Ty, and I have the wonderful Gabby here with me. This is Weddings Made Perfect podcast. We are here to help you plan and give you tips on your up and coming big day. We are very excited to help guide you the right direction to prepare for it. If you have any questions or ideas you want to hear for future episodes, you can email us at weddingsmadepodcast@gmail.com, or you can comment on our Facebook post, Instagram post, and even the comments section on the latest video on YouTube. If you just want to listen to us, we're on many podcast platforms. Check the description below of the video to view the options. Thank you so much for the followers we have, and very excited to see where this journey goes for us. We do have a sponsor for this episode.
As always, our sponsor for the podcast is Endy Events. Endy Events is a St. Louis-based events company that specializes in photography, videography, DJ, photo booth, event planning, coordination, officiation. I think that's a word. Officiation, right?
Officiants, whatever. They have those. They have those people. So definitely check them out.
They're official. I
also felt weird because my hat was for it. I didn't realize it until like mid you doing the sponsor. By the way, sponsors by Endy Events. Check them out. I felt weird, so I had to like put it backwards. I was like, this is not the normal me. But anyways, Gabby, what is that awesome tip?
First, if you want to reach Endy Events, you can go to endyevents.com.
Sure.
That's ENDY events.com, or check out our Facebook or Instagram. But I do have a tip for you today.
Yes.
Today's tip is to create an address label if you are going to a bridal show. So we're talking a little bit about bridal shows today, so I thought I would again match the tip to our topic. So a lot of the kind of new trend that a lot of couples have been going for is to create like the sticker address labels that you'd put on an envelope. Yeah. You put your name, your email, your phone number, your wedding date, if you have your venue picked out, and then any services that you still need or are interested in. You can put all those on there and print off dozens of copies. And that way, every time, if you're walking around at a bridal show, every time you walk up to a vendor and they say, hey, what's your name? Can you write down your email, blah, blah, blah. You don't have to write it 50 times. Yes. You can just put that sticker on there and they'll have your information. But do understand, they now have your information. So whatever you put on there will probably be contacted. So if you don't want them contacting your phone number, I would suggest leaving it off. It's always smart to create a email for your wedding so that you're not getting spammed in your personal email with wedding tips, and you'll have everything in one place. So
yeah, and also it saves a lot of time because I've definitely worked several bridal shows that I see them just writing out every single spot. They're like, I want to get this freebie, or I want to get into this drawing that they have, and like just sitting there over and over again writing each of their information out is very time consuming, and there might be a chance where you're not going to be able to hit as much as you can as if you did get that little stamp or even the little sticker and you just put it on their little like information notes and then call it done. It is going to be way easier. You could just ask the questions that you want to ask and then just move on to the next vendor if possible. But yeah, and also for the email, definitely create another email. If you don't have more than 2 emails already, I don't know what you're doing with your life, just to be honest. I have an email for business. I have an email for personal stuff. I have an email for just junk. I have an email for gaming. I mean, I have literally 5 emails right now in my pocket. And trust me, like it is worth every single time of
logging
organizing
into the separate email account.
Oh yeah, because I'm just like, I had the same email since I was like 9 back in AIM days and dial up. No. Like I had that email, and then just like back in high school, I still had that same email, and it was just getting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of emails of just random stuff that I would do back in, when I was younger. And I was just like, I need to figure out something. So I ended up creating another one.
Did you have a silly email account name?
No, my parents actually made it. So it was just tylerfault@sbcglobal.net. So
that sounds so official.
I like It was weird. I never really had the opportunity to do it. So by the time I was mature enough to create my own ones, I guess, I was just so avid of just using my name.
Yeah.
So luckily, mom and pop, thank you for that. But no, I didn't have Cool Kid 67.
I had a silly one.
Yeah.
Only because like when we would go to like grade school, they like drilled in our heads that if you put like any of your personal information out on the internet, it'll get stolen. Like, and I thought it just happened like that. Like your identity's gone. They've taken it. So I don't want to say what it was, but it was silly.
What was it?
So
Is it Soccer Girl
so
47?
weird. It's so weird. So at the time, Wizards of Waverly Place was popular.
Right.
And so it was Alex first. Okay. And then I can't even explain the second part. It's super weird. It was Alex Tickle at gmail.com for whatever reason. But until I like grew up and, gave myself a legit name email, I would have to tell like the bank teller or like the lady at Gap. Like, she's like, what's your email? And I'm like, oh, here it is.
That's hilarious. Especially when I used to work at retail and work at House or something, you're just like, hey, I got an email for this and that. And then I hear people say their things. I'm just like, oh, no, why would you have that? No, but yeah, I was fortunate enough to have parents to like create it. And then it just kind of stuck with me. And so all of them literally have like my name associated with it or have some sort of thing. But yeah, I have several emails, so definitely do that. So that's how you won't get bombarded. But Gabby,
yes,
I got a very interesting little thing that I want to do. For listening purposes on Spotify or like in the listen, just if you're listening it just in general, you may not be able to see fully what's going to happen here. But if you are watching video, you're going to have a little treat. But Gabby, I want you to close your eyes for just a moment. Okay. And you're sitting at a very important location with your boyfriend. Okay. Without a skip of a beat, he goes down on one knee and asks for you to marry him. You're overwhelmed with excitement and love and say yes. Okay. Then get starstruck by what just happened. Then once you start to head home and begin to think of ideas and plans, your wedding day, but then realize you don't know anything about wedding planning or anything like that. So, well, I have a situation for you. So you may want to go to a bridal show. So you can open up your eyes if you want to. But yeah, basically our topic today is bridal shows and also the wedding video of Gateway with our special guest. But you probably are thinking that's a great idea. And you are very much so correct because it's a wonderful idea to take your time with the planning and go to a bridal show at an open house at a venue you may want to book. And I have the information about your options. So, Gabby, pay attention. I'm just joking. They actually didn't do that.
We're not engaged.
They never did that. Sorry, Garrett. So, I'm not trying to pressure you, man. So this episode, we have two special guests with us. We have Ashley and Jeff from Gateway Convention. We will be going over bridal shows and also their wedding venues they have for couples. We want to go over the pros on bridal shows, on why you should be doing it or why you should be going to it. The Gateway Convention Center information will be in the description below of the video if you want more information and how to book with them, with their venue space, and for upcoming shows. The Gateway Wedding Show features many of different. Hold on, I'm sorry. The Gateway.
Do you need like one of those sound bites of like a clapping hand?
Yes, I do. The Gateway Wedding Show features many different vendors that can help brides, grooms, and event planners personalize their upcoming special events. For the couples that just got engaged or the event planners just starting off, the show will feature everything they need. For those who are just looking for fresh ideas and inspiration, there will be plenty of new ideas on display. The Gateway Wedding Show takes the stress out of planning your next event in just a few hours. You can meet more vendors than you could visit in a month. We bring you a face-to-face sampling of virtually everything you'll need to plan on your perfect event. You're probably thinking, Ty, why do I need to go to a bridal show? Well, I have 5 reasons why you should go. So once again, take that handy dandy notepad out. If you're watching, definitely start writing this down for these 5 topics. If you're driving, please take a mental note. Do not text while driving. I do not want you to crash on this awesome podcast you're listening to right now, heading to wherever. But
probably Cold Stone Creamery.
Cold Stone Creamery. You guys will hear about that later on. But top 5 reasons why you should go to a bridal show. Number 1. They save you time by offering one-stop shopping, meaning they have everything. You go there, they have photographers, they have videographers, they have flowers, they have cake, they have photo booths, they have DJs, they have dresses options, they have tuxedo options, they have uplighting, they have sparklers, they have fireworks, they have, I mean, you name it, it's all there. I've seen it. I've seen
You've seen fireworks?
Oh yeah, those little box where you could like dance and just
the pyrotechnics.
Yeah, those guys. Those guys are awesome. Like,
it's an event.
You got pasta, you got Cold Stone, whatever that is, ice cream, cakes. I couldn't think of it for a second. I mean, you name it, it's there. Definitely go check it out. So that's number 1. Number 2, they showcase the latest trends. If you are a person that has to be on top of the trends, definitely go to bridal shows. They will tell you all the things that you need to know. What's the new color? What is in? What is out? What is all about? Like, it is what it is. Like,
are we rhyming now?
Yeah, that's we are. Did you not get the notes for this podcast?
Did you email me?
No, I'm just joking. I told you to make a rhyme. No. Also, number 3, guys, they're full of freebies. So if you love to get samples, you love to get some freebies just in general, definitely check out a bridal show. Man, I've worked at them, and I can tell you I leave full. There's so many food options to try, so many desserts to try. I mean, it is delicious. You guys need to just go check it out. Even if you guys have some ideas of what you want to do, I would still suggest just to go and see what other options you have. Also, recently they've been doing like State Farm's there. So if you don't know, different insurance reasonings, or if you're you and your spouse or significant other is trying to figure out like insurance policies and stuff like that, they're still there. They have those options.
Yeah.
They even have realtors there to just help you out, find a house or rent a house or whatever. Like there all there are things there that will help you guide your way to do. There also recently been like security camera services where like Ring and stuff, and all those people are even there just helping out. Like it is a really cool event where not only it's wedding, but also it's lifestyle things that you may not even think about when you do get married.
There was a taco truck at the last one I was at.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Oh man. So my favorite, just food truck in general for weddings. There's this food truck that's these huge donuts. It's called Vincent Van Dough. And
it's a brilliant name.
I know. But I'm telling you, these donuts are like, wow.
Like there's still like a hole in the middle?
No, there's a hole, but like they're like this big.
Oh my goodness.
And they're huge. And I've been to a couple weddings that had Vincent Van Dough there. And I'm just like, oh.
This is the second time you've mentioned donuts. Is that going to be the dessert of choice at your
I mean, I
wedding?
do like donuts. I don't really know. It might be Cold Stone, honestly. Because Sarah really likes it too. Because when her and I worked at she actually worked at a show without me because I was out of town. She was just like, "Oh my God, we gotta book Cold Stone. This is some great stuff." I was like,
hey, at least you're on agreement.
I was like, we're on agreement with that. So, but yeah, definitely, guys, freebies. Check it out. Get some Cold Stone. Get some pasta. Get some Vincent Van Dough if they have it. Number 4, they allow you to meet vendors face to face. This is the time to get down to the nitty gritty and ask questions. Ask them, why should I hire you? Why should I have your services on my wedding day? Why should I get you on my big day? This is very important for you guys to do. It is definitely a good time for you to talk to them face to face. You don't feel pressured. You don't feel like you have to pull anything for it. The thing is, though, is they are there to help you out, and they will do anything that they can to do it. Plus, you are able to actually view their work. So if it's a photographer or if it's a videographer, they will have their work out to showcase it, so you know what you're going to get, or at least an example of like what you would get on your day. Yeah. So definitely do that.
I can say too, from our side of the business, when we really like start to make that connection with somebody, we really want to do everything we can to make them happy. And so, like, when you get that personal touch, they're going to be like, what are you guys looking for? Let's get down to it. What can we do for you? Maybe we can make a custom package just for you and throw something in because we really like you and we think this could be a good fit. So it's a really good opportunity to get some good deals too.
Yeah. And then number 5, the last little tip that I got for you is they save you money. They save you money. Just a commercial. No, but seriously, guys, they save you money. Like I said, there are multiple vendors out there that they're going to have some sort of show special or like a percentage off or some sort of deal or a little add-on or whatever, or even like a little package or a bundle deal that they have. Like, definitely go check it out. Like, I know there's a lot of people that are like really against bridal shows for some reason. I don't know why. I mean, like, regardless, go there, try some free food, see what you have to offer, and just experience what there is. Like, you never know, because if you're not exposed to this daily, like how we are, you don't really know what's out there. I mean, yeah, you could Google top places around you, but is that really going to be beneficial for you? Go experience it. Go out and see what they have to offer. So that's all I ask you is take these top 5 things is, save your time by offering one-stop shop when you go there. They showcase the latest trends. They're full of freebies. They allow you to meet vendors face to face. They save you money. So we will go over more with our 2 very special guests that we have today. With that being said, I would love to introduce you to Ashley and Jeff from Gateway Convention Center. Definitely tell us more about you guys and also how did you guys get into this industry?
Totally. So my name's Jeff Foster. I'm sales and event manager at Gateway Convention Center. I started in events right out of college, moving to New York City, working for an event production firm there, and really found my drive for events. That every day is different, a new challenge, constantly trying to, become innovative and creative with a new scenario, a new situation. And so that's where my drive became established, and I moved back to St. Louis a couple years ago and started at Gateway Convention Center, and that drive and challenge has continued being at the convention center, continuing to bring in turnkey events, new events that bring people together.
Awesome.
And I'm Ashley Fritz. I am the producer of the Gateway Wedding Show at Gateway Convention Center. I started off in country clubs, segued into hotels, all doing events. Like Jeff said, the best part is every day is something different. And right after college, got the job at Gateway Convention Center in the sales for weddings and banquets, and kind of took over the wedding show, and ever since have been doing that.
Well, that's cool. So how many bridal shows do you guys actually do a year, or like how does that work out?
Yeah, we do 2 wedding shows a year, once in January and then again in the summers. It kind of depends on how the calendar falls, whether it's in the end of July or beginning of August.
What do you guys have to offer slash feature for like your bridal shows?
So for the January show, we feature a fashion show by a local bridal shop that shows off their wedding gowns, their tuxes, their suits, their bridesmaid dresses, even flower girls and ring bearer outfits. And then we do a grand prize drawing that includes a free honeymoon. At all of our shows, we have about 100 vendors that all give prizes away. There's usually a showroom that has tons of different wedding decor. But the biggest part is there's hundreds of, over 100 vendors to meet with, to book your services. So main difference between January and August is August does a cake dive, where brides and grooms dive into a cake to win the grand prizes that include a honeymoon.
That is amazing.
The pictures are epic.
I bet they are.
And a little scary at the same time.
People get into it.
Yeah.
We did something a couple years back at the Busch Stadium that did that, where we had the cake dive thing. But for like the fashion show, I'm gonna kind of back that up real fast. What benefits is that for couples to actually view that bridal show, and kind of what are they trying to get out of from that type of show?
I feel like most brides and grooms don't know what they want when they go into like a suit or a tux shop. or a bridal gown shop. So it's nice to see them in person and kind of it helps them visualize what they would look like in those that attire, so that way they can kind of have an idea of what they want as they're going into the bridal shop or the tuxedo and suit shop.
Awesome.
Cool. And then how do couples actually register to attend?
Yeah, so we do $5 tickets for any age online, and it's at gatewayweddingshow.com. If you register, you get entered into every single prize that every vendor is giving out. But if you don't pre-register, you're still able to get in. It's $7 at the door. And we've even made a coupon code for if you're listening today using discount code podcast, and you'll get 50% off tickets.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, cool. So
That's
That's a
awesome.
cool thing. And how should couples prepare themselves before going to a show? Like, is there any organization that should have, or any type of information for that?
Yeah, I would recommend bringing anyone with you who you think will help you make a good decision. A lot of vendors have day of show specials where you can actually set up a tour with them if it's a venue, or set up a meeting with them no matter what type of vendor they are. And even, day of specials where you can actually contract with them and save a lot of money. So be prepared to make some decisions. Enter all of the drawings that there are. A lot of couples will come with those pre-made mailers that have their names, their fiance's name, their wedding date, their address. That way it's a little bit easier. You don't have to write your name 100 times.
That is the biggest trend I see.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
It's a lot
Brilliant,
easier.
yeah.
Saves a lot of
Saves
time.
carpal tunnel.
Absolutely. And just come to have fun. There's always cake samples, other dessert samples, food samples, beverage samples. So come hungry and thirsty and have a good time.
So I know there is like a lot of like fun aspects and stuff, but as someone who's actually been like a vendor at some of these shows, I have some people that come up and I'm talking to them and their eyes are huge. It seems like it's just a little overwhelming. Is there anything that you suggest they do to kind of avoid feeling so overwhelmed, or just to get the most out of it?
So we actually have a list of all of our vendors placed online. So my suggestion for that would be to go online, look at the vendors, look at their websites, make a list of the vendors that you for sure want to make sure that you meet with before you leave. The show's short. It's only 3.5 or 4 hours. So, if there's certain vendors that you want to meet with, it's helpful to have that list so you can make sure you have enough time and can kind of, you don't feel rushed as you're getting so much information.
Yeah, or overwhelmed with the information. Yeah, that makes sense.
Is there any tips that you would help couples to get as much as they can for the shows? Like, is there anything that you could say to them before going, I guess?
Yeah, we do swag bags at the beginning of the show for the first 100 people in the door. And those have so much information in them. So even if you don't get to see all of the vendors and visit with all of them, it's nice to get there early. So you can get one of those bags, take all their information home, kind of decompress all of the information that you get. And then follow up with the vendors that you were really interested in, because, a lot of them will still honor their show specials. A lot of them will get, they want you to meet with them after. So come early, again, make that list of the vendors that you for sure want to meet with, and then kind of go home and decompress. And
Absolutely. And compare.
Yes.
Yeah. So like what types of vendors and services do you guys generally have showcased?
We have a little bit of everything. Anything that you would need before, during, or after planning a wedding. And the typical DJ, venue, bakers, photographers, those general vendors. But then we also have things for bachelor and bachelorette parties and honeymoons. Even things for if your next step is buying a house. We have some of those vendors there. So we honestly do have a little bit of everything. One step of the planning process you're in, there will be a vendor that you'll be able to connect with.
Perfect.
That is kind of nice though, like going somewhere that have everything. So not only you could book a photographer or a wedding, videographer, cake, flowers, tuxedos, dress, but not only that, but you can start looking for, because I've done a lot of shows. I've done a couple shows actually at Gateway, and then you have like State Farm there, where you could do like get insurance or whatever, or start looking for a house, or there's other like things too that you wouldn't even think will actually have at a show that kind of gets you prepared for, I guess, the big step of living together
was
or
gonna
just
say,
having
like,
a life together.
I feel like some brides might get so wrapped up in like this is how much they have for their wedding and everything, but they don't think about like, oh crap, like we're gonna be married and then we're gonna have to get a house. Like we didn't budget for that. you know, it's like maybe think about this. Like think about what we need, what our priorities are gonna be, our next steps and stuff.
Which kind of backs off with what we just said from the last podcast with you talking about how you should have a little bit of percentage aside of the money, aside for like potential things that you would never think to have to get paid for or to pay. And so this is kind of a chance for you to actually go to a show and see like what all the options you have for your actual wedding. And it's just cool to be able to do it. Because I know a lot of people are like kind of against bridal shows for some reason, of like, they think it's too overwhelming, or there's just so much, or they just don't get anything out of it. But really, it's a place for a lot of the couples who don't really know a direction they want to go to, and they get to see all the options and be able to actually get a chance to just see what they may want.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's good to compare like what you're getting for, you know, that certain amount of money, and then like, you know, what like the exact services that they're offering. And if you like come in with, you know, you say you're just strictly looking for a photographer today, you can ask, are you editing my photos? How many am I getting? You know, what are your packages coming with? And you can ask every single one instead of taking like your email and doing over weeks of communication and all that stuff. It's just like one quick stop shop to get like a majority of the vendors that are offering the services.
And then after that, stop at Cold Stone to get a nice piece of cake and ice cream. Man, they're so good.
We might be looking for cake. I should try it.
It's ice cream cake. I mean, come on. You can't go wrong with ice cream cake.
I think to piggyback also off of whatever all you guys are saying too, is that I think a key component of a bridal show nowadays is that you get to meet the vendors face to face. A lot of people find their vendors via social media now, obviously. But having a connection for the bride and grooms, especially if like who you're going to be working with, photographers, florists, planners, venue, etc., is like super key, because obviously you don't want to work with someone that you're not going to get along with or not click with, right? And I think that the bridal show really offers that, especially with a lot of these companies. They bring, you know, who you're working with, who's the creative behind it, and that's super important for them to grasp off of.
Yeah, I'm sure you've noticed. We have similar jobs that like the generations that are getting married are lazy.
Yes.
They don't want to talk on the phone. They're too scared to talk on the phone. Yeah. They don't want to go anywhere. And just to like be like, okay, I'll get out of my jammies for 3 hours and go meet with all these people. Like it's a good place to just knock it out too. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I know you guys do bridal shows, but do you guys actually have like an open house for just Gateway in general for people to kind of go and experience what you guys have to offer for a wedding venue?
So, I mean, the bridal show basically does act as that, right? Okay. So we do set up a couple rooms, how we would set up a typical wedding at Gateway Center. So it kind of allows like, you know, you to experience the vendors, but also see what a venue could look like and what we have to offer through Gateway Convention Center. So it's kind of 2 for 1. You know, you can go see a huge venue of like what your wedding could be, but also have the components of the wedding attached to that as well.
Okay, so basically, so not only you guys hold bridal shows, but you also have space to uphold weddings for a venue option as well. Can you tell us more about that, and how do you the couple start planning out like how to book with you guys to get a certain space for their wedding? So
obviously we're a convention center, right? So we have a lot of flexible space. You know, it's basically like I tell my bride and grooms like it's a blank slate, right? So it's just rooms and you build your vision from there. And so we have over 50,000 square feet of space. So depending on your wedding party size, your guest list size, you know, we basically find the right fit for you as a bride and groom. Obviously touring, you know, the different types of spaces, the amenities in each space. You know, we have different ceiling heights, carpet in some room, concrete in other rooms. So it's just really the aspect of what your vision is as a bride and groom that we kind of start there. And then, you know, once we kind of hone in on that, the booking process starts of, you know, us filling you in on like what we have to offer. You guys were kind of pinpointing that people, you know, quote unquote are, you know, lazy now and kind of want a one-stop shop, right? And so, especially being a convention center, we have the ability to have tons and tons of different equipment on site.
Yeah.
So, staging, risers, pipe and drape, you name it, we basically have it. And so built into our room packages is basically an all-inclusive package. So, you come with a vision. Obviously we have lots of pictures to look at, but you're like, I want my stage here, my tables like all around here, my dance floor in the middle, and everything we have can move. And so it's basically building out your wedding in a room. A lot of venues you go to and everything's stationed, and you can't move this, you can't move that. Everything has to be set this way. And this allows for the flexibility of that. And that's basically where we start with the booking process and kind of building their vision, seeing what can work and what can't, and giving them what we have to offer.
So to kind of back off with the space, do couples need to prepare before looking for space with you guys? So meaning do they need number counts at all? Or are you guys super flexible with that even as well? They don't have to have a set stone of I have a wedding coming up for 80 people. Do they need that actual count before booking with you guys, or do you want to? Or are you guys flexible with?
Yeah, definitely flexible. I mean, obviously it depends on our booking calendar, right?
Yeah.
So we're a convention center, so we have lots of things going on at
yeah.
once. It's not a single venue with one wedding a night.
Right.
We could have a bunch of things going on at night.
Yes.
We have lots of like I said, flexible space that we can section off that creates still private event spaces. But yeah, it definitely helps to have a wedding count. If you go into one of our rooms, say that holds 200 people, and your guest list is at that time 150, but goes up to 300. Basically we have to flex. And be like, all right, well here's another space, or we don't have space on that day, so it just kind of depends. A rough number definitely helps. It definitely gauges it, and I think it's probably one of the first things I ask when I'm talking to a client is what is your guest count, because it helps best fit. When you're talking space and you're like, okay, well do you need 3 ballrooms or 1? It's a huge space to fill if you're and you would never want a group or a wedding to look like Eaton in a room, right? Because you don't want 50 people to be in a huge ballroom because then it looks weird. Yeah. So you always want to gauge in whatever's going to look best, you want to kind of guide them towards.
Which we kind of were just talking about that with the whole having a large space, making sure that as a couple to have the proper number that you may want, because you don't want to have 80 people, but have a space that holds 250, 300 people.
Exactly.
It looks, you could definitely tell it's not right.
Yes.
So, you were talking about that you have all the piper drapes, kind of uplighting, all that stuff, and just all the different supplying. Do you guys allow any outdoor vendors / suppliers that's not on your preferred vendor?
Yeah, so that's what's, we do. It's what's great about our venue as well. We have all the stuff you can use, but you can also bring in whatever you need to enhance what we have.
Awesome.
Okay.
So we, I always say we're kind of the foundation, the building block of your wedding, right? We're all the bases, the pipe and drape around the room, the tablecloths that you need, the tables, chairs, staging, like we said before, backdrops for photo booths and stuff like that if you need it. But obviously there's things to be enhanced, centerpieces, table runners, chair covers, different things, candy tables, that type of thing that you're going to want to have individualized for your event. And so that is obviously something that we don't charge you to bring in or anything like that. Whatever you need to make your wedding look how you want it to look, we're more than happy to allow that.
Do you guys have a wedding planner on the staff, or is that your job specifically, or?
So we actually have on-site event managers, which is part of my job title as well. Our event managers are more on the logistical side of things than the planning side of things. So you would, a wedding coordinator, obviously, is someone who is day of, has a timeline with them, on you about who's lining up where and that stuff, right? Our event managers are basically there for if anything would go wrong with the building side of things. If you need the air up, the heat down, you need this moved, you need extra chairs here. All the logistical sides and the operation sides of the building are what the event managers are there. But they walk through with the client, planners, whoever that would be. They build a floor plan out on our program that we use, so you can kind of see how everything's going to look ahead of time, so that basically when you come in the day of, it's all ready to go from what you've talked about in your planning meetings.
Awesome.
So it's kind of like a collaboration between everyone, but they act as kind of a coordinator event manager hybrid almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if your couple doesn't feel comfortable coming in person to look at spaces, do you guys offer any virtual experiences or tours?
Absolutely. So on our website, gatewayconventioncenter.com, or I guess it's gatewaycenter.com, we have a bunch of virtual tours that you can basically click through the entire building, check it out. Again, it's like we have a lot of blank space, so it's not set up for like what a wedding would, typically look like sometimes. Definitely something that like, the pictures that we post of the weddings and stuff help you see a little more. We also offer obviously like Zoom meetings as far as a walkthrough or something like that. If someone's interested in a room, more than happy to Zoom them in, kind of check them out, explain what we have to offer. Shoot them pictures, ideas that we have as well. So depending on their, how comfortable they are, we can basically do everything from a computer or a phone, just as it would be in person.
Perfect.
So for all those lazy people, I'm playing.
This is the best time for them.
So yes, selling those jammies, yes. So no, that's really cool though. It's really, really interesting to see that. Becoming popular because of the pandemic that's happening currently right now, but just in general, it's nice to have that because I know some people may not want to just go on their own, or just they feel intimidated, or they feel like it's just like a sales pitch, which is not. It's just you're there to view the place and just see if this is a good choice for you. But having that type of an option for them to view it virtually is really cool, especially because I know that a lot of like even household realtors are doing that now too, where they're you're able to view it online and have like a 3D video of some sort. So it's just cool that you're able to do that as well. I don't know if you actually hit this, but do you actually also, because I know it's like an empty space where they can do whatever they want, but do you actually sit down and kind of can map out everything for them to see what it will look like?
We do. That's kind of what the event manager is for. They basically will sit down and plan a meeting with your team of family, friends, whoever is assisting you with your wedding, and build out a floor plan of your event, your wedding, your event, with all the tables, the chair counts, the head tables, the pipe and drape, basically everything that we have on our side of things that we are in charge of setting up and whatnot. Would be included on that diagram, where guests are entering, what signage is going to say, what color of, tablecloth goes here. All of that would be kind of on the breakdown of the event diagram that you get sent ahead of time and obviously approve in advance, so that we're all on the same page.
Yeah. How many meetings does that take generally?
It depends, right?
Yeah.
So obviously some people are super picky about changing things back to back, and so which is if you're super detail oriented, things are going to change all the time. Other people are more laid back and that looks great, let's do that. So it just kind of depends. I mean, we can knock it out in one meeting, but obviously as we get closer to weddings, things change, guest counts change. So a bunch of tables get changed around, or you want to swap, table 3 with 5 and that type of thing. So those little details come into play, but usually a couple of meetings you can knock it out, because really the bones of it, you're planning with your friends, family, event coordinator on the other side of things, so you're not exactly planning that side of things with us, other than, like I said, the kind of setup that we're in charge of.
Yeah, I would say, like you said, 2 or 3 meetings in person, and then the rest is usually handled by phone call or email or Zoom or us getting on the phone with their planner. That type of thing.
So do you guys offer any mini weddings options? Because I know recently now that's kind of the trend is micro weddings and mini weddings, which should be because the situation we're dealing with right now. Right. But definitely is what are your guys' options for that, or if you do have any for that option?
Yeah, basically we've run, a bunch of specials as the pandemic has kind of morphed into longer than we all anticipated, depending on what the regulations were, how many guests were allowed, how many square feet everyone had to have. So we, have done weddings for 50 basically, where you basically got a whole package, and we did make it a one-stop shop of it was your food, all the setup for the ceremony, the reception, kind of all-inclusive. And so we basically are something that we're really fortunate to have is space, right? I mean, I think that's a lot of venues' issues with the pandemic is that there isn't enough space to spread out. And like I said, with over 50,000 square feet, we can, you know,
Yeah,
if you want to
I was gonna say,
50
that's-
people
yeah.
and 40,000 square feet, if you want to, if that's what we need to feel comfortable.
Right.
That's what we've been doing, is really flexing with people, making them feel comfortable, you know, putting 4 people at a table if we need to, and putting the tables 20 feet apart if they need to be, you know, but we have like morphed into certain packages, depending on the regulations.
Something else that we did too, kind of when the pandemic first started and it was starting to get warm, was we saw an increase of outdoor people asking about outdoor weddings. With being a convention center, we're lucky to have a really large parking lot too. So we've kind of had a couple people call about drive-up weddings, where it's just the ceremony and then they're planning their reception later. So we did have a couple outdoor weddings this past summer into the fall, but
So
that was another trend that we saw kind of pop up.
So you guys like set up a stage or like an area where they got married, and then people could drive their cars up and just roll down the windows and listen to the wedding?
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the options. Someone called about that.
Oh my goodness.
But I think they ended
Anything
up
possible.
having chairs outside rather than the cars, because things started to
they
get
did.
better a little bit. It was like that sweet spot where things were
Yeah.
getting
Yes,
better,
end of
and then
summer-ish.
right before they got
Oh my
bad
gosh.
again. But yes, that was their plan.
That's brilliant
Gotta get
and
creative,
crazy.
right? Yeah.
Brilliant and
Yeah,
crazy
gotta get
at the
creative.
same
You gotta
time.
do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
It's one of those
Yeah.
things.
2 years ago, that would be just the
Yes.
wildest suggestion.
Yeah, now
We
you
were like-
people say that.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I know you guys are technically in Illinois. I know Illinois just in general. The restaurants, venues, everything you think of got hit hard because of the whole regulations and just limitations that you guys had. Like, was that a struggle for you guys at all? Do you guys even skip a beat at all, or did you guys just like, all right, this is what we're doing now? We're doing drive-through weddings. Like,
Yeah,
what?
I think we all had to learn, right? Like,
Yeah.
we all were like, at first, we're like, wait a minute. Especially in the live event industry, we were all like, what do we do? I mean,
Yeah.
we're like 10 people in a room. We're like, that doesn't exist for live events, right? It's like, we're like, what even does that mean? And so it did take it. You know, it took a lot of team effort. I think a lot of creativity on talking with different venues. You know, we when the pandemic started, we were all obviously working from home, trying to keep as safe as possible, and we really did spend time talking with different venues, sitting on Zoom calls, listening to other people and ideas that kind of morphed into these, like, as we got warmer and into summer, you know, into plans that we started laying out of what we can do, how we can do events safely, and how we can allow people to still gather. And that's kind of, you know, where we established what we were going to do and how we were going to do it. And I think just communication with other venues from Illinois, with other venues from all over the country that we were talking to, you know, kind of really helped piggyback off of each other and get as creative as possible.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just hard. Because I know last year I had several events booked for myself to shoot in March, April, and May, and all of them had to get rescheduled. Luckily, they all rescheduled. They didn't cancel, but just it was a very scary time for me because, I mean, yes, I do work here, but not only that, but I do a lot of like projects outside, and immediately when it just halts and nothing is happening, I'm like, oh, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Because it was only supposed to be like 6 weeks or something like that. And then it became 8 months to 9 months. And still dealing with things. And so it was just a very scary time for, at least for me, of like, what am I supposed to do? But then you actually said it with the whole live events. A lot of the live events started to do like virtual events. And they started booking video production people to produce these videos for them.
Yeah.
That's how they could still do these events or auctions or whatever. And we kind of jumped on that kind of bandwagon. And the business that I was actually a part of is now booming because we're associating with some live events here in St. Louis, and actually are able to form to just do videos for them. And so, yeah, it's not many live events happening, but they're still doing some sort of event virtually, and everyone's still getting everything they need to get out of, which is super cool that we're just kind of converted into virtual.
Yeah, I think it's part of the, you know, it's instilled in everyone who does events. Like, right,
Yeah.
like we don't sit still.
Yeah.
So like the second it was
It's-
taken away from us, we're like, okay, how do we get back in the game? And so that's basically like where we all hit the ground running again, and we were like, okay, we have to find a new creative way to do this, so let's figure it out, because like, you know, we got to keep moving and keep living and keep, you know, weddings aren't going to go away, right? Live events aren't going to go away. Yeah, they're going to morph maybe into something else, but it's just how we go about them that we just had to basically rethink.
Yeah, and that's great, because like every creative person is like, okay, what can I do? And there was things where I was just doing just to make money. Like I was getting a hold of like streamers on Twitch and going like, hey, if you guys need a cool video, I got this for you. And then I was getting inquiries back, and like I was just doing things that I could just make ends meet to do things, because like this is what I do. So I'm not gonna go and like find like an actual, you know, 9-to-5 job or whatever. Like this is my job, and like I want to make sure that I'm doing it. But yeah, it's just really cool just how even like a venue space is having to be like, okay, so we can't do this anymore. What's the next option that we could do? So yeah, that's pretty cool. But I didn't hit this. What is your menu catering option? Like what do you guys have to offer for?
Yeah, so we actually are partnered with a brewery in Council called Old Herald. They're fantastic. Their chef is world renowned. They have experience from all different types of venues. Kind of a creative team that came together like just on a whim. And so they're fantastic to work with. We actually have just started that partnership with them at the beginning of this year. And so not only do they, you know, create incredible dishes, which is something that like when I started working at Gateway was something super important to me, right? Like not creating a banquet meal for a wedding.
Yeah.
Something that I'm super passionate about is how the food looks, how it's presented, how it's brought out.
Something my guests are going to talk about in a good way.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, when have you gone to a convention center and been like, wow, that meal was literally the best thing on earth.
Right.
You don't. Like, it just doesn't happen because you're producing for thousands of people, right? It's super hard to do. But they've got this experience and they've got the presentation and the skills to do it. And not only that, you know, they have incredible bartenders. And I guess, I don't know the exact name, but like people who create drinks, was it a
Mixologist.
Mixologist. Yeah, I was like, I don't know.
That.
But I mean, literally, like you could make any drink you could ever imagine, and they're so good, and so it's kind of presented a unique atmosphere for us. So they are like one of our premier partners, but we also offer the option for you to bring in your own food.
That's awesome.
As long as it's from a certified caterer. And so it kind of helps, you know, because obviously wedding budgets are tight, especially now. So if you don't want to pay, you know, a certain price for a higher end caterer, and you'd like to bring in, you know, pizza even, like who knows, like to that type of thing. Where you just want to have a get together, you want to just have like a little wedding and stuff like that. We allow the flexibility from one end of the spectrum to the next. And so really, not just like our rooms, our food is flexible as well.
It's awesome because I always talk about this, and I'm like the three talkable topics of a wedding is food, music, and drinks.
Yeah.
Those are everybody's talking about it. Every single time we leave, you're just like, oh man, this food was great, or you know, that food was just no good. Or like, you know, it's just the chicken was cold.
How often you go to a wedding and you're like, like, you know, you're not excited for the meal most of the time, right?
Usually.
You just, no, it's just.
Yeah.
So that's like been our goal, is like to have a place where you go and people are like, that meal was so good.
Yeah.
Like, because you never say that with big events most of the time, you know? And so it's something that we've creatively like tried to develop this base program with Old Herald, that is really turning into something fantastic and cool and kind of new for the industry.
It's really cool too that not only like are you you can offer that experience, but for people, like there are not a lot of venues that let you like choose your own like catering and all that stuff. Like sometimes they're like, nope, sorry, we're not going to let you do it, and you're just like, okay, have all my money. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's hard.
Exactly, and like you said, I think food is. I mean, obviously, like venues are expensive, but food is probably one of the most expensive things at your wedding. And especially for like these couples that, you know, just want to get married and have a little get together or a party and stuff and don't want to spend, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars on food. It allows the flexibility of that, but still allowing them to have, you know, an event that's meaningful and important and the space to do it as well.
Yeah.
It's just different topics that people don't think about.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we always talk about like not only it is your day, but you have guests that are coming in where you want to make sure that it's accommodated for them, but also happy as well. Because I mean, like, you're inviting these people on the day for a reason. You see them, that there's a reason why you invited them. You love them. They're a big part of your life. Like, you want to make sure that they're also happy as well. Because I know, like, it is your day, but like at the same time though, you want to make sure that like they're happy as well. So like I'm super avid with like making sure food is really good. There's drinks that are actually good, good wells, good spirits, good all that whiskey, and then making sure that the music is just popping, just booming. So
Yeah.
like I'm very avid with that.
So what would you guys both suggest to a bride and groom that's like newly engaged, just getting into it?
Newly engaged, I would say take your time. Is my biggest thing. I think a lot of people are just like, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this, like in this cookie cutter box of like, this is how you plan a wedding, this is how the timeline that you have to stick to. And it never works, right? Like, you will never stick to the timeline that you plan out. Things are gonna change. Something will happen here, something will happen there, and you have to be flexible, and you have to give yourself time to find what you really want. The last thing you want to do is rush into something and look back and be like, man, I wish I would have spent more time, or I wish I would have thought about that more, or like, just like waited a little longer and stuff like that. I just say it's so exciting and so many things at once to plan that like you just taking a step back and just like enjoying it for a moment, kind of planning and really finding out what you like is kind of what I would recommend first and foremost.
Perfect.
And I think for me, I just got married in September, so the biggest piece
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You should see the photos. I'm not kidding. They're so good.
I think the biggest piece of advice that was given to me was decide if you're planning the day for you or your family. And not to, like Jeff said, not to rush into making a decision just because someone else wants you to make that decision.
Yeah.
Take your time, research the vendors that have been recommended to you, and make the decision that's best for you.
I feel like with Ashley, it was even crazier because like her network's huge, right? So like it's like from one spectrum where you're like a bride and groom where you know no one, you're like looking online. Then Ashley, who runs a wedding show, who knows thousands of people that you have to like pick from and like narrow down. So like instead of having like a few options, she has hundreds of thousands of like people to choose, how it's gonna look. I mean, she's seen everything and under the sun.
That's funny. We talk about that all the time. Like, we're like, oh, we just went to a wedding. Like, I know I'm not going to do that. Like, we're like, oh my God, that's so good. I'm stealing that. Like, I'm going to do that.
I literally have a book of things of like what is interesting and what's not, and I'm just like, no, this can't be it. And then there's something that happens. I'm just like, that's a cool idea.
Write that down.
Mashed potato bar. What? All the toppings and stuff. I'm just like, whoa. I was just like, no, it's cool. But actually, I want to know because how was your experience? I know you're part of it, so it's a little bit easier for you to kind of like have all the list of people and kind of narrow down stuff. But at the same time, like, what was your experience like? Budgeting, making sure that this is where you want to do it. Like, did you actually have it at Gateway, or did you have it somewhere else?
I did not have it at Gateway, mainly because all of my family and my husband's family are from Missouri.
Okay.
So for us, it was just easier to get married in a venue that was in Missouri.
Where was it?
It was at Haw Valley in the Pacific.
Yeah,
they were wonderful to work with. I would say that they were one of the many reasons that my wedding went off without pretty much a hitch. Jeff was my wedding planner.
Yes.
I mean, of course.
Which helps because we work in the same office too. So we'd be like, anyways, what do you think of this? And we'd be like, I don't know. Like, it was super convenient.
So,
like listening to first, like walking down the aisle songs, like while working one day. We were like,
timing it out.
Yeah. Timing it out. Yeah.
It's a dream team.
It really was fun.
I will say that I don't even want to say the biggest piece of advice, but one of the most helpful things was knowing the history of my vendors that I chose to use, and kind of knowing them personally and getting to know them. That helped. So like we talked about earlier, going to wedding shows and meeting those people face to face and making sure that you're going to be able to connect with them and work with them long term, because wedding planning is not a 2-month process.
No.
They want to make it that, but
They want to make
They
it
do.
that, but most of them are, a year and a half. Now with people rescheduling, 2 years, 2.5 years.
Yeah.
So make sure that you have vendors that you enjoy working with. It's going to make the process so much easier and so much more enjoyable.
Yeah, as a photography company, I really love when people book us for both their engagement photos and their wedding photos,
Totally.
because they start to build that connection with
Yes.
like the photographer, and we make sure that it's like the same day, same person for both days. And so like, when that person shows up, it's not like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. Like, I'm getting ready for the biggest day of my life, and
Right.
here you are, stranger.
Right.
It's like, oh, hey, I know you, Ashley. It's good to see you again. Like, I'm so excited for this, and you're comfortable, and you have that chemistry, and you know that, like, it's a good fit, and you've already seen the photos, and you know, like, that style is my style, and it's just going to be perfect.
And even if there's a vendor that you don't get the chance to meet in person, following them on all their social media, keeping up with what they do, looking at the new features that they offer, that was really helpful for me, because, there were some vendors that I was like, I haven't actually met them really, I spent a lot of time with them. But that was something that kind of helped me keep up with what they were doing.
That's such a good
getting
idea.
to know them.
Yeah.
I feel like you messaged a lot of people on Instagram too, like that had experiences with vendors and stuff.
Yeah,
At
so-
one,
And I took a lot of the recommendations. So the thing about the venue I was at is everything was going to be there. The ceremony, the pictures, the reception, everything. So my biggest thing was I wanted a photographer who had taken pictures there.
Yeah.
So I had a couple recommendations from the venue. So kind of leaning on the vendors that you have booked to get some of your future vendors,
absolutely.
I think is really helpful.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a big thing to do that, especially for photography and videographers, to make sure they actually been there. That's a kind of a big. I don't know. Like I've been in it through so many years, and there's times where I've had to go to a place that I didn't know, which I did perfectly fine. I got what I need to get. I got some creative stuff. I mean, you could throw me in any room, and I can make sure that I can make it look great.
And there's always going to be a first time.
Yeah.
Unavoidable.
But at the same time, though, kind of playing devil's advocate, like I definitely prefer going to places that I've been to already, because I kind of know the gist of like, okay, so I know when this time hits for the sun, I know how this is going to look for this, and like, okay, I have rooftop access here. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna get this type of shot with my drone, and just X, Y, and Z. And that's really nice to have that type of opportunity to be able to get like a preferred vendor for working. So
Perfect.
You do
What's
that.
your favorite part of your job?
My favorite part is just the creativity that you get with events. We talked about it earlier. It's something new every single day. We both aren't great at sitting behind a desk all day,
Same.
every day.
Me either.
Same.
So it was
That-
kind of the perfect industry for me that, meaning
Yeah.
that I wouldn't have to sit behind a desk. It's, you're not dealing with the same person every single day. You get to meet new people. And I think that's my favorite part of our job.
I think where that comes from me as a creator for like storytelling, when I was in college going to film school, each week we had to make a new film. And so we're always on the toes, always making something new, creating something new. And it kind of started and sparked of like, I cannot do anything this like literally the same every single day. There's no way I could do it. And so having professionally being able to do different projects for weddings or for companies or corporations or like entrepreneurs or coaches or whatever I do for video purposes, every single video is different. And so it's just like you guys, every single event or every single thing is different for what you guys do for your venue. So I'm big with the whole, I need something different each time. I love it. I love it. Keeps my brain going.
I'd say for me, actually, surprisingly enough, as much as I love doing the events, it's building the vision with the client. When I first meet them, like on a tour, kind of speaking through everything that they're kind of thinking about and kind of having, my input on the vision of how we can help create that perfect day for them, because obviously people's weddings are like one of the most important days of their life. And so I put a lot of weight on that. So I think it's really important to kind of assist them best we can to, like, even if, the last thing I say at the end of a tour is basically, like, even if you don't pick this place, like, and you don't come to Gateway Center for your wedding, any advice you need or something that I can offer, shoot me an email, shoot me a text, call my extension. You know, me, Ashley, our team has so much experience in the industry. So if you need a certain vendor or a recommendation for a photographer, or, you know, lighting guy or DJ, you know, we have built relationships. And so we want to help you create that perfect day.
That's really great.
So that's super cool because there's a lot of couples out there that are not exposed to what we're exposed to every single week. I mean, we do events, we do weddings every single week. So we see, I guess, pros and cons of different things, but there's not many people that will go to weddings or have the chance to be able to. So when they do get engaged, they don't really know what's the next step. And so for you to take your time to do that is super cool. And definitely check them out. So, but with that being said, what are some like upcoming events or wedding events, or like, do you guys have like any shows coming up soon or anything like that? Like anything to kind of tell, I guess, our audience that's listening or watching?
So we do have a wedding show coming up on Sunday, August 8th from 1 to 4:30. And that one will feature a fashion show by Bridal Manor.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I did that.
You did?
Yeah, I was junior year of high school when I was like super like fit and like, I don't know.
And
but
then,
I actually did a bridal show for, I forgot where it was at, but I did it for Men's Warehouse. That's how I originally started Men's Warehouse, was I did their fashion shows for bridal shows.
oh, so you're a model.
I was going to say, you have to put model in your job description too.
I guess you could say a model. You know.
Yeah, right.
I mean, like, it was. I showed you the photos of it.
Well, Ashley was looking for a few other people too, so like if you're interested.
I'm kind of
Are you retired?
Oh,
You're
I'm
retired.
retired,
Yeah.
I don't need to say anymore. But no, it was. Those were super fun. I remember those. I did prom fashion shows, and I also did bridal shows. I looked really young though when I did the bridal show part, but
Because you're so old now.
Well, no, I was 17 at the time. So I did it from 17 years old and
17-year-old groom.
I did it from
Yikes.
17 to 20 years old. No, it was mainly for just the tuxedo side, which I don't know why.
You were more specific prom though, weren't you? Like
I was I was prom until I was like 19. And they're just like, yeah, you're going to look like a groom. And I'm just like, I still look like a child. I was like, I still do look like a child. I'm 27 years old now, and I still look like a child, but with a beard. So I don't know. So anyways, but yeah. You said August 8th?
August 8th from 1 to 4:30 at Gateway Convention.
And they could register now and get all the good stuff.
Registration's open, and then just use that promo code for 50% off.
50% off.
Where can they go to find, either information on the venue or even information on the show?
They're both linked together, so just going to gatewaycenter.com. There is specific tabs for booking a wedding at the venue or getting tickets to the wedding show.
Perfect.
Cool. So definitely book your tickets now, so that's how you get some good Cold Stone ice cream cakes. Because they're always there.
Set on that.
Have you had it?
No, I can't say that I have.
Well, then there you go. You need to the next
you
time.
can eat your way through.
Yeah.
Like literally,
Try a little
like
sample it off.
Okay,
I swear,
I'll try it.
There's so many places.
Twist my arm. I guess
Yeah.
I'll have the
You
ice.
got
So
those.
good.
You got those in that Italian place. I think it's like called Concetti or Concetta. Cassettas.
Yeah.
Great
Really good
pasta.
pasta.
Oh my gosh. See, I've done a lot of their shows. I've been through. They're great. They have great shows. But once again, guys, thank you so much for coming.
For sure.
It was an honor to kind of pick your brain on bridal shows and also your wedding video as well. But once again, guys, thank you so much for listening to Weddings Made Perfect podcast. You could email us at weddingsmadeperfectpodcast@gmail.com. Everything that they said will be in descriptions in the video side. So if you want to check their website and also book for their event that's coming up on August 8th or just anything at all, definitely do that. We'll tag Jeff and Ashley's information if you guys want to get a hold of them as well. If you guys are wanting to book or just, like he said, come and talk to him about anything that you guys need. But once again, guys, my name is Ty and I have Gabby with me, and this is Wedding Makes Perfect podcast.